This is King George from WHPK, and I have the pleasure from Hadestown of interviewing Julia
Schick.
Schick. And that's hard.
I know.
Hey, you know what I'm getting ready to say. But, hey, who do you play?
I am a swing on the show, so I cover 8 of the 13 tracks in the show.
Oh, wow.
And then I'm also the assistant dance captain.
Oh, so you're around constantly.
Oh, yeah. I could go on at a moment's notice. I could get a text that day that I'm going on for any of the 8 tracks. I could get a message, a page during the show saying, get ready, you're going on, next scene.
Now, there's 8 lines you gotta, 8 people's lines you gotta remember.
Yes, 8 people's lines, blocking, choreography, songs, beats, acting.
So how do you've been somebody today, somebody tomorrow, somebody next week. How do you keep that straight and you don't do the lines for somebody else?
I have a lot of note cards.
Now, do you carry them around with you?
I do. I have one note card that I have for every single character I play, and then depending on how long it's been since I've played that role, I will put it in my pocket. Sometimes I'll bring it on stage, or I'll just review right before I go on. There are some tracks I play longer than other ones. So like I've done tracks like one track for a week straight before. And that it's easier by the end of the week to know which one I'm going on for. And then some I haven't touched in months, and they'll be like, you're going on today in 2 hours, and I'm like, okay, let me just real quick go through the whole show in my little notebook and make sure that I don't start saying other people's lines.
Yeah, because I'm about to ask you, have you ever got on stage and forgot what character you were?
Oh, hundreds of times. A lot of the roles that I cover are very similar. Like, I'll wear the same costume. I stand, one character stands on 2 and the next character stands on 3. So I will be like right next to myself, and I will often get confused and I'll breathe in like I'm about to say someone else's line, and then I realize that's not my line, and I go, never mind.
Okay. Now, you said you're the dance captain.
Yeah, the assistant dance captain.
Okay, now what does that consist of?
Our job, the dance captain and my job, is to uphold the integrity of the choreography in the show. So there's tons of like movement in time, there's a lot of dancing, and it is very personalized in the show because a lot of Hadestown is bringing yourself to your roles. And our job is to make sure that while it is personalized, it is also clean and consistent and safe. So we watch the show. We try to watch the show once a week, twice a week. When we're on stage for roles, we'll kind of keep an eye on numbers and spacing to make sure that no one's going to run into each other. There's no safety issues with traffic. And then also just making sure that, like, if we say, hey, you need to do this movement with the right hand, and then after 100 shows of doing the same show, someone starts doing it with the left hand, we can go back and say, hey, don't forget, that's definitely the right hand.
Okay. Now, what do you prefer, acting or being a dance captain?
Ooh. I have always been a performer. Like, I've been dancing since I was 3. Like, I have always been on the stage. So that, that I don't think I could survive without performing. So probably acting, but I do really enjoy being a dance captain and helping keep the show together. I also like choreograph and direct on the side as my own thing. So it's, I don't know, all of it is really important to me.
Okay, this is your first crew traveling.
Yes, this is my first tour. I graduated from college last May. So
wow.
I booked this almost directly out of college and then went on the road. And
that's not usually how it goes.
No. Usually people will move to New York City and grind for a couple years, or they kind of stay home, or they get like a survival job for a while. But I got really lucky to book almost immediately and go out and be able to tell this story.
Okay, they book you as the roles or as the dance captain?
As the roles.
Okay,
They booked
the
me.
dance captain came later.
Yes. We had
Okay.
another assistant dance captain. They left the tour, and then they were like, well, we need an assistant dance captain. Julia has done so well over the last 4 months or so. So I joined as assistant dance captain like halfway through.
Okay. I ask this to everybody, can you remember the first time you decided, I may be a teacher, I may be an actor, I may be something else, but when did you decide that acting is your stick?
The first show I ever saw on tour, actually, in Georgia, was The Lion King. And I was sitting on the aisle in The Lion King, and coming down the aisle, like in the first number of the show, was all the animals, all the puppeteers. Okay. And I remember seeing someone who looked like me, like she had my hair and she had freckles and my same skin tone, and she looked at me and like just kind of gave me a little wink. And she was playing the leopard, so she was like crawling on all fours.
Oh, wow.
And she was just beautiful. And I remember like staring at her and watching her like walk up to the stage and then break out into this like beautiful dance. And I'm listening to The Lion King, which I've been watching since I was little, like the Disney movie.
Right.
And I turned to my dad and I was like, I'm gonna do this. And he was like, what? And I was like, I'm gonna be that. I'm gonna go on stage and perform that. And I remember just feeling like seeing someone like myself on stage was so meaningful. And I knew that I wanted to be that for other people.
Okay, so what advice would you give to folks that wanted to get into your younger self? What would you say?
Advice? I think I would say there's this quote that one of my mentors told me, fail forward. And the idea is that like failure is not a bad thing. It's not, oh, you failed, time to give up. Failure is always a lesson, and it is just another step to get you to where you're meant to be. So my advice to my younger self and my advice to other people who want to do this is just like, don't be afraid to take risks, even if you fall real far. At least now you know your limits, you're learning how you work, and sometimes instead of falling, you will fly, and it's worth the risk.
Okay, give me a quick description of Hadestown.
Hadestown is a beautiful musical based on Greek myth about the love story of Hades and Persephone, as well as the love story of Orpheus and Eurydice. It is fun and funky and fresh, with a lot of influences from jazz and folk, as well as Greek storytelling. And it is a beautiful story of love and hope.
Okay, so Hadestown at the CIBC Theater to May 6th through 18th. What would you tell people?
Come see. It's so fun. It is a great night at the theater. You will leave happy and joyful and excited to keep on living.
Okay, Julia Schick. Okay, we've been talking to Julia Schick. Ooh, I didn't mess it up. And looking forward to seeing you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.